Good morning. You're watching the Breakfast Show this Tuesday morning, and we're back again with all the news. I am Nancy Kohli. Let's first take a look at the top stories. Rain fury shuts down the maximum city. 22 dead due to wall collapse in Mumbai, Kalyan and Pune. The local train services have been halted and public holiday has been declared. Parliament passes 2 key bills for Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Modi thanks the political parties for supporting the bills cutting across party lines. Praises Home Minister Amit Shah for his speech on Jammu and Kashmir. Centre sets up a high-powered committee to transform agriculture. The committee, headed by Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, also includes the Chief Ministers of 6 states, will submit its report in 2 months. In international news, Iran toughens its stand, exceeds its stockpile of uranium in a breach of the 2015 nuclear deal. Donald Trump warns Iran while the UN asks Iran to respect the terms of nuclear agreement. In Hong Kong, protests intensify as police use force to evict protesters who stormed Parliament. And in tennis, biggest upset in the history of the tournament. 15-year-old Corey Goff beats 5-time champion Venus Williams in the first round, becomes the youngest player to win a match. In cricket, India to take on Bangladesh today. The win in this match will seal India's place in the semi-finals. Sri Lanka win a thrilling encounter against the West Indies. Our top story, the incessant rainfall continues to lash Mumbai and its neighbouring areas, with the downpour entering its 5th day today. It's also been a rain spell like never before. It's the highest in a decade. The BMC Commissioner has claimed that Mumbai has already witnessed a total of 85% rain in the last 4 days, which is the usual rainfall for the entire month of June. The Met Department has warned of extremely heavy rainfall in Konkan, Mumbai for the next 4 days. Mumbai witnessed heavy rains even yesterday, with the downpour resulting in the waterlogging in several areas of the city and leading to traffic congestion on the roads. All the 3 Mumbai local lines are not working and flight services have also been seriously hampered. According to the BMC, 1,000 people have been evacuated from the Krantinagar Kurla to prevent any untoward incident due to an overflowing Methi River. The Maharashtra government has declared a public holiday today as a precautionary measure for the Mumbai city and its citizens. It has advised people to stay indoors unless there is an emergency. And the heavy downpour has also led to incidents of wall collapse at several places across Maharashtra. In the Malad area of Mumbai, at least 13 persons died after a wall collapse in the Pimpripada area. A compound wall collapsed on the hutments near a school due to heavy downpour. Many are fear-trapped under the debris. The National Disaster Response Force, the fire brigade and the police are carrying out rescue operations on the spot. The injured have been admitted to the trauma center at Jageshwari and Shatabdi Hospital in Kandivali. Meanwhile, the Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has expressed grief over the loss of lives in the Malad wall collapse incidents. He has also announced compensation of 5 lakh rupees for the kin of the deceased. And in Kalyan, 3 persons have died and 1 injured after the wall of National Urdu School collapsed at around 12:30 this morning. And a similar incident also took place in Pune, where at least 6 people lost their lives while some others were injured after a portion of a compound wall of Singer College in Ambegaon in Pune collapsed on an adjoining labour camp due to heavy rains in the wee hours today. The NDRF is carrying out rescue operations on the spot as some persons are still believed to be trapped under the debris. Meanwhile, the Met Department in Pune has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall in the coming hours, and the Pune Municipal Corporation has requested all the citizens to avoid going out if not needed and take all the precautions. It further added that in case of an emergency, contact the NDRF or the fire brigade or police station for any assistance.
प्रशासन से पिछले 3 दिन में इस पर काफ़ी अलर्टनेस हमने किया भी था। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये जो विषय है हमारे असेसमेंट में बेसिकली जो पीएमसी ने एक टीम भी बनाई है जो कि जहाँ जहाँ कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट है वहाँ पे ऐसा कोई धोखाधड़ी या फिर कोई डेंजरस ऐसा कोई पिक्चर है तो उसको हम तुरंत करवाई कर, ऐसा लोगों ने किया भी है। बहुत सारे साइट्स पे हमने विजिट भी कराया है। लेकिन ये जो जगह है यहाँ पर मुझे लगता है कि जो असेसमेंट में ये विषय नहीं आया है कि ये वॉल इतना मतलब जो धोखाधड़ी वॉल उनको दिखा नहीं, या फिर साथ में जो पेड़ है ज़्यादा बारिश होने के कारण पेड़ और ये जो वॉल दोनों एक साथ गिरेंगे तो क्या परिणाम होगा, ये बिल्कुल असेसमेंट की चूक है। हम इसमें मदद जाहिर करेंगे। मदद जाहिर करना इनफैक्ट फिलहाल इस समय मतलब हम ये जो रिलीफ और रिहेबिलिटेशन है उस पर हमारा ध्यान है।
And we'll keep tracking all the developments there in Maharashtra owing to heavy rains. But moving on now to some other news, and it was a busy day in Parliament with several key bills being passed. Parliament has given its assent to extending President's rule in Jammu and Kashmir by 6 more months. Meanwhile, the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Bill giving 3% reservation in jobs to those living along the international border was also passed in the Rajya Sabha. And speaking for the motion, Home Minister Amit Shah said that national security is a priority for the government.
With the monsoon session in place, work in both houses of Parliament is on in full swing. All legislative work is being done at a rapid pace. The upper house of the Parliament on Monday passed the proposal to extend President's rule in Jammu and Kashmir, as well as the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Bill 2019. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted, both houses of Parliament unanimously passed 2 important bills pertaining to Jammu and Kashmir. These bills were passed after rich debates enriched by participation of MPs across party lines. I thank all parties for their support. Such bipartisan support is gladdening. Passage of Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Bill ensures justice for those living in the border areas of Kathua, Samba and Jammu districts. The aspirations of the bright and talented youth of these areas will be fulfilled, which is wonderful for the state and our nation. While proposing both the bills, Union Minister for Home Affairs Amit Shah said the Modi government will do everything to take forward Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat and Kashmiriyat in the state. The Union Home Minister blamed Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru for the disorder and terrorism prevailing in the state. He said that all the problems of Kashmir are because Nehru declared ceasefire when 1/3 of Kashmir was with Pakistan.
मैं सदन को आश्वासन दूं, नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार की नीति है कि कश्मीर के अवाम की संस्कृति को संरक्षण हम ही करेंगे और इसको फिर से 10 का 10 बनाएंगे। एक समय आएगा वहां श्री भवानी के मंदिर में कश्मीरी पंडित भी पूजा करते हुए दिखाई पड़ेंगे और सूफी भाई भी वहां पर दिखाई पड़ेंगे। हमारा अप्रोच स्पष्ट है, जो भारत को तोड़ने की बात करेगा उसको उसी भाषा में जवाब मिलेगा।
Speaking on the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Bill 2019, Union Minister for Home Affairs Amit Shah said that it will benefit over 3.5 lakh people residing in Kathua, Samba and Jammu districts. The bill proposes to give quota benefits in jobs and educational institutions to people living near the state's international border.
कठुआ जिले के 70 गांव, सांबा जिले के 133 गांव और जम्मू जिले के 232 गांव के बच्चों को इन सुविधा के अंदर समाहित किया जाएगा। कुल मिलाकर 435 गांव के 3,50,000 की करीब आबादी को इसका फायदा होगा।
In a discussion that lasted over 5 hours, both the statutory resolutions gained approval in the upper house of the Parliament after being passed earlier in the lower house. The house also voted in favor of extension of President's rule in the state. Meanwhile, the Lok Sabha passed The Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Teachers Cadre Bill 2019. The bill seeks to replace the ordinance issued in March. It will help filling about 8,000 existing vacancies in 41 central universities. The bill has provision of 10% reservation for the economically weaker section.
यदि देखा जाए श्रीमान तो एक के बाद एक ये विधेयक ये साबित करता है कि यदि अंतिम छोर पर बैठे रहने वाले व्यक्ति की कोई चिंता करता है तो नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार करती है.
Replying to a question, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said that Doordarshan and Akashvani are autonomous institutions run by Prasar Bharati.
प्रसार भारती के कानून में भी एक लिखा है कि जेन्युइनली ऑटोनमस, और मैं अभी विजिट करने गया था, उनके बोर्ड के साथ बातचीत हुई, तब मैंने ये कहा कि ये जेन्युइनली ऑटोनॉमी के साथ ही काम करेगी, ये हम इंश्योर करेंगे. समाज में जो अच्छी चीजें हो रही है उसका भी दर्शन होना चाहिए, इसलिए गुड स्टोरीज, पॉजिटिव स्टोरीज, आपकी के क्षेत्र में भी जो अच्छे मिलेंगे स्टोरीज वो भी आप सूचित करते जाइए. हम वहां जाके शूटिंग करेंगे और वो भी दिखाएंगे.
It is evident that the government is making significant efforts to speed up the legislative work in both houses of parliament. The government will present the economic survey in parliament on the 4th of this month and the budget on the 5th. With Parliament team, DD News.
And Prime Minister Modi has praised the Union Home Minister Amit Shah. He said that, I quote, Amit Shah's speeches in both the houses of parliament were comprehensive and insightful. Those who want a clearer understanding of the Kashmir issue must hear his speeches, unquote. And let's once again go back to a top story, the heavy downpour there in Maharashtra. And in fact, despite those heavy downpour, the RNU Mumbai continues to function and telecast bulletins as per schedule. For updates, let's go across now to our correspondent Shama Mishra, who's joining us from Mumbai this morning. Shama, the situation continues there to be grim, and of course heavy downpour continuing across Maharashtra. Many lives have been lost. It's a tragic incident taking place this morning as well. Just give us a sense of the rescue operation and the relief measures that have been put in place to avoid any untoward incident now in future.
Well, you're asking if you're asking about the rescue operations and the restoration, we can show you that this is the Sion area of Mumbai, and the entire area is submerged underwater. There's heavy waterlogging because we've seen that there has been continuous heavy downpour, and because of which the entire area, and including this Sion area, the areas which are in the low-lying parts, including the Sion, Mumbai, Sion, Hind Mata, Parel, Andheri, Milan Subway, Ghatkopar and others, they are all submerged underwater. And there are places including the Goregaon area, Malad area, where we were learning from the people that they have been saying that the water has come in their houses, and it is a flood-like situation over there. Also, you can see that the trucks and the big vehicles, they are continuously stuck there because they thought they would be coming out of that particular patch, but their vehicles got stuck there. Talking about other incidents that has happened, we have learned that in Kalyan, in a school wall, the school wall has fallen, and there has been death of 3 people. Also in Malad, the wall has collapsed on the hutments, and there have been several deaths over there as well. In Pune also we learned that the wall has collapsed on the workers of that particular area, and we learned from the collector of Pune that the assessment would be done now, and as to why this incident happened, and what will be the further process. So these are the incidents of wall collapses, or we can say building the structure collapses. We are also talking about the Central Railway, Western Railway lines. These lines are only working in patches. We were learning that in morning from the Harbour Railway, particular line was working, but it was slow moving, but now it is completely shut in that particular patch. Also late night yesterday it was announced that the schools and colleges would be shut, and today morning the Mumbaikars got a good news that the private institutions and government offices would also be kept shut. These are all precautionary measures because we know for the fact that if Mumbaikars come out for their work or for their colleges or for their schools, it is bound that they will get stuck in these waterlogged areas, and it will be very difficult to clear the traffic. We've been seeing that we showed you these visuals at the end and at the beginning of the particular patch. There have been police personnel, traffic police personnel who are guiding people that there are diversions, not to go through this route and go through that route. In between, the manholes are kept open for the water to flow out, and there have been BMC officials, BMC personnel rather, manning that particular manhole so as to no untoward incident or vehicle goes there or person goes there and no untoward incident happens. So all in all, Mumbai is rather limping back to normalcy, and for now, for a while, rain has only been drizzling, and we are hoping that the rain gods should have a little mercy on us and take the rain clouds towards the agriculture area where the farmers are wanting to sow their crops and all, and the cultivation happens over there, and Mumbai breathes a little bit.
Right.
Nancy.
Absolutely. We do hope that no more tragic, unfortunate incidents take place there due to heavy downpour. Of course, we understand that measures are in place. So just give us more sense, Shama, to avoid any untoward incident. What the administration has prepared, what measures, what steps have been taken, all those put in place to avoid any untoward incident now.
Like we already mentioned that the holiday has been declared for schools, colleges, private institutions, government offices here. Also, the police personnel, we can say the railway officials are also down on ground and seeing what the situation is. Last night we were talking in our reporters group that who all are stuck in a particular patch. So it was learnt last night that all continuous announcements were made from the Central Railway, Western Railway, that due to waterlogging in these particular areas, trains are moving slow, and there were incidents that the trains were stuck for half an hour or more, and then it was moving and then was getting stuck again. So these precautionary measures, if the waterlogging is more in a particular patch of tracks of either railway, Western Central or harbour, the trains are not allowed to run. The officials are taking cognizance. If the water level recedes, only then the trains would be running. Also, we are learning from the Mumbai Airport Authority that there have been around 54 to 60 diversions of flights, and there have been also a few cancellations. You can see that the big, we can say a vehicle, a JCB type vehicle to pull out vehicles who were stuck there, that has come out. We are guessing that this vehicle was also stuck over there, and these are the visuals that we are showing you, that there are waist level deep water here, and Mumbaikars are compelled to walk because there are hospitals in these particular in this particular area. Sion Hospital, there is Mehta Hospital, a private one. So people are compelled, the relatives of patients, they have to walk through this particular water. And if we are to talk about what BMC does, this is a question which will, rather a rhetoric question that will stay forever, because even if they carry on construction, carry on repairs, put new pipes, these areas which are low-lying, they always witness a scenario of these kind of waterlogging. Right. Now what we saw in the morning, that the level was there, this level has particularly started receding, and if the rain stops like this and it continues to remain continues to not be there, then we are hoping that the waterlogging should be receding in a faster pace. Sure. All in all, we are seeing from Mumbai Police, the railway officials, the BMC officials, they have been taking all precautionary measures so as to not cause pain to Mumbaikars. But these areas, including all the waterlogging areas, these continue to cause pain to Mumbaikars because of this vehicular jam. Then the area is completely shut. So these things continue to happen.
Yes,
however,
absolutely.
like we said, Mumbai is trying to limp back to normal. We will be fine if the rain has stopped completely. We will be fine by evening. Nancy.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Mumbaikas and the people across Maharashtra having a hard time owing to heavy downpour, but the administration continues to be on an alert and the constant monitoring of the situation continues to be taking place. Thanks, Shama. We'll keep getting regular inputs from you through the day-to-day. Thanks very much. Meanwhile, the centre has constituted a high-powered committee of the chief ministers of several states for the transformation of the Indian agriculture. Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis will be the convener of the committee, while the chief ministers of Karnataka, Haryana, Arunachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh have been included as the members. The Union Agriculture, Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Minister will also be a member of the committee. Besides that, the Niti Aayog member Ramesh Chand has been named as the member secretary. The committee will discuss measures for transformation of agriculture and raising the farmers' income. It will suggest the modalities for adoption and time-bound implementation of agriculture sector reforms. The committee has been asked to submit its report in 2 months. It has been tasked with suggesting changes in the Essential Commodities Act to attract private investments in agricultural marketing and infrastructure. The panel will suggest mechanism for the linking of market reforms with ENAM, GRAM and other relevant centrally sponsored schemes. It will also suggest the policy measures to boost agricultural export, the raise growth in food processing and attract investments in modern market infrastructure, value chains and logistics, besides making other key suggestions. The 46-day annual pilgrimage to the holy cave of Amarnath Ji in the South Kashmir Himalayas commenced yesterday from both Baltal and the Pahalgam routes. The yatra will conclude on 15th August, coinciding with the festival of Raksha Bandhan. Over 6,800 yatris left from the Baltal-Ganderbal route and over 3,000 yatris left from Pahalgam-Anantnag route for the shrine. Shri Amarnath Ji Shrine Board said that on the first day of the yatra, over 8,400 pilgrims paid obeisance at the shrine till last evening. Moving on now to some other news, fugitive businessman Vijay Mallya's extradition case will return to the UK courts today as he seeks permission to appeal against an order signed off by the UK Home Secretary Sajid Javid for him to be extradited to India to face alleged fraud and money laundering charges amounting to 9,000 crore rupees. The 63-year-old former Kingfisher Airlines boss has already lost a UK High Court leave to appeal on paper, leading to an oral hearing of his renewal application this week. A 2-judge bench of the Administrative Court Division of the Royal Courts of Justice in London will hear the application filed in April. Moving on now to some international news, Iran enriched its uranium stockpile, passing the 300 kilogram limit set by the 2015 nuclear deal with the world powers. The Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said that action has been taken as European countries have failed to fulfill their promises of protecting Iran's interests under the deal. Iran has also vowed to begin enriching its stockpile of uranium to higher levels, closer to weapons grade, later this month if the world powers fail to negotiate the new terms for the nuclear accord. And reactions have been pouring in. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed concern over Iran breaching part of its 2015 nuclear deal with the world powers. He's urged the country to continue implementing all its nuclear-related commitments. The move also drew a warning from the US President Donald Trump that Tehran was playing with fire. The step, however, could have far-reaching consequences for diplomacy at a time when European countries are trying to pull the US and Iran back from confrontation. It comes less than 2 weeks after Donald Trump said he ordered airstrikes on Iran, only to cancel them minutes before its impact. And riot police fired tear gas and baton-charged protesters in Hong Kong to disperse demonstrators who stormed Parliament in a day of unprecedented chaos and political violence as the territory marked its China handover. The financial hub has been rocked by 3 weeks of record-breaking demonstrations against a hugely unpopular bill that would allow extraditions to the Chinese mainland. Late Monday, young masked protesters wearing hard hats managed to break into the legislature after clashes with riot police, ending 2 weeks of relative calm. They ransacked the building, daubing its walls with anti-government graffiti and prompting a police warning of an impending crackdown. Security officers moved in from several directions, scattering protesters with tear gas and baton charges, sending plumes of smoke drifting across the heart of the financial hub as fleeing demonstrators scattered, leaving open umbrellas on the city streets. And earlier on in the day, huge crowds of peaceful democracy activists staged a march calling for the city's pro-Beijing leader to step down and reverse what they see as is a sliding freedom. But the atmosphere deteriorated as a hardcore group of protesters stormed Parliament after hours of siege. US President Donald Trump on Monday signed a bill giving him $4.6 billion in emergency money to provide better conditions for illegal immigrants at the border and for migrant children being held at shelters in the country's interiors. The bill cleared Congress last week after House Democrats relented on a number of demands. A majority of the money will go to the Federal Health Department to care for the unaccompanied alien children who have streamed across the border this year. The Health Department had been running out of money and had shut down some athletic and legal outreach services for them. These programs can now be restored. And we are moving on now to sports news. Five-time Wimbledon champion Venus Williams was stunned by the 15-year-old Corey Goff in the first round at Court 1 of the All England Club yesterday. It was a match-up between the oldest and the youngest in the draw, and the younger one came out on the top. Goff beat Venus 6-4, 6-4 in quick-fire fashion as the spectators took notice of the youngster's talent. Goff became the youngest player since 1991 to register a win in the first round of the women's singles at Wimbledon. Playing against her idol for the first time, Goff did not look phased at all. And while former world number 1 Simona Halep shook off an injury early in her opener and won 5 games in a row in the second set to overcome Alexandria Sansovic 6-4, 7-5 in the first match on Court 1 since the installation of a new roof. And Naomi Osaka was dumped out of Wimbledon in the first round yesterday as the two-time Grand Slam champion was flummoxed on the grass by Yulia Petsanova. The 24-year-old Kazakh might be ranked only 39th in the world, but the former world number 1 Osaka had no answer to an opponent she was also beaten by at the Birmingham Classic last month. Putintseva took the first set on a tie break and then broke Osaka in the second set's 5th and 7 games to win the match 7-6, 7-4, 6-2. And in the Wimbledon men's title, top seed Novak Djokovic began his defense by beating Germany's Philipp Kohlscherber in the straight sets as the pair opened up the tournament on centre court. Inside the 15,000-seater arena, the 32-year-old Serb was never in serious trouble during a 6-3, 7-5, 6-3 win. Djokovic is aiming for a 5th Wimbledon title and a 16th Grand Slam. The world number 1 will play American Denis Kudla in the second round. And from tennis to cricket, and today, while in the World Cup, after testing their first defeat, India will take on Bangladesh at Edgbaston in Birmingham and will be eyeing to book a place in the semi-finals with a win. Bangladesh, who have impressed everyone by punching above their weight in the World Cup this year, cannot afford to lose any of their 2 remaining matches.
With their unbeaten streak in the Cricket World Cup halted by hosts England, the Indian team will be looking to make quick amends against a spirited Bangladesh side. India's 31-run loss against England was only their 3rd defeat in ICC World Cup matches this decade. While the loss did not have any bearing on the second-place side's position in the points table, The Indian team needs to win at least one of their last two games to make a smooth entry into the top four. Against England, chinks in India's game plan came to the fore. A lackluster performance by the spin department, coupled with the approach of the middle order in a failed chase, will be a point of contention as they aim to quickly regroup. Bangladesh's hot and cold tournament has now come down to them needing wins in both their remaining games and then hoping for a favourable outcome from New Zealand's next fixture. While their batting unit has shown stomach for the fight, consistently posting high scores, the bowling department has let them down in crunch situations. The side will be buoyed by the possible return of Muhammadullah in the middle order, who is recovering quickly from his calf injury and is expected to make it to the playing 11. Conditions expected to be sunny in Birmingham on Tuesday, with hardly any chances of rain. After witnessing 300 plus scores in both innings of the India-England game, the Edgbaston surface could produce another run-heavy match. Mukesh Shukla's report, DD News, Birmingham.
And yesterday in the World Cup, Sri Lanka defeated West Indies by 23 runs in the match, chasing a mammoth 339-run target. West Indies began their innings on a poor note. West Indies lost opener Sunil Ambrish for 5 runs. Lasith Malinga castled shy hope for 5. Chris Gayle showed some resistance, but his innings was cut short by Rajitha for 35. Nicholas Pooran revived West Indies innings and scored 118 runs. But with this dismissal, the West Indies hoped ended and lost the match by 23 runs. And Sri Lanka posted a mammoth total of 338 for 6 in the 50 overs against the West Indies at Riverside Ground in Durham. This is Sri Lanka's highest total in the ongoing World Cup this year. Avishka Fernando scored his maiden 100, which powered Sri Lanka to a huge total. He smashed 104 runs of 103 balls with the help of 9 fours and 2 sixes. The efforts of Kusal Mendes, Dimod Karuna Ratne and Lahiru Thiramane also added to Sri Lanka's total. And for the West Indies, skipper Jason Holder was the leading wicket taker with 2 wickets. Sheldon Cottrell, Shane Thomas and Fabian Alec claimed 1 wicket apiece.
Through this period as a batsman.
And in fact, let's talk about the match today, which is between India and Bangladesh. Let's go across to our correspondent Suchitra, who's joining us with more inputs on that. Suchitra, now India looking to seal the spot in the semis. Just take us through why this match is so very important, so very matters, and what should we really watch out for?
Well, good morning, Nancy. If we look at the recent history between India and Bangladesh, then these two Asian teams have had really interesting contests when it comes to one-day cricket, be it the Asia Cup final or the Nidahas Trophy final. The margin of win has been really narrow, so we can expect a very interesting contest today between India and Bangladesh. And this match is a do-or-die match for Bangladesh because they need to win their remaining 2 matches if they want to qualify for the semi-finals. India is in comparison in a comfortable position because they have a very good net run rate and they have 2 matches to go. After this match, they have one more match against Sri Lanka and they need just 1 point to qualify. And even if they lose both their matches by a narrow margin, they can still make it to the semi-finals because they have a very healthy net run rate. So this is going to be a do or die match for Bangladesh. But for India, a defeat by a very narrow margin will also do, though India would like to win this match and make it to the semi-finals by winning this match. Nancy.
Suchitra, we are all aware of Indian team strengths, but learning our lessons right from a previous match versus England where we lost to them, what are the weaknesses really that we should work on, the Indian team should work on for the match today?
Well, Nancy, since the beginning of the tournament, everybody is talking about our middle order and our lower order because we depend heavily on our top order batsmen. Shikhar Dhawan is already out of the tournament. Now the team depends heavily on Captain Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. It's good for us that these two have contributed in almost every match. Virat Kohli has had consecutive 5 50s in this tournament, but there has to be law of averages somewhere in the tournament. These two will be caught by law of averages, so that is going to be very difficult for Team India because every team now knows that if you pick quick early wickets, 3 or 4 down, and
Right.
then you can just run through the tail. And we just saw in last match, India was in a position to chase their target, but once they lost the wickets, Dhoni also knew that, you know, one more wicket down and they will run through the tail. So they just gave up on the match. They didn't try to win the match. They just tried to maintain the net run rate. So now every team knows that Indian team's weakness is their brittle middle order and the lower order, and the key to win against India is to take some early wickets.
Okay.
Nancy.
All right, Suchitra, thanks very much for joining us for the moment and sharing all those inputs. Thanks very much. And let's now move on to our next segment, the Finance World, with my colleague Aanchal.
Well, thank you very much, Nancy. And today, the second trading day session, that's Tuesday. Let's have a look at the headlines which are making news in the world of finance. Oil prices witnessed a surge yesterday. Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and other allied major oil producers have agreed to extend crude oil production cuts for 9 months. The decision was taken at the 176th meeting of the OPEC conference yesterday in Vienna. The meeting was attended by 14 countries which are part of OPEC, following which meeting of OPEC Plus Alliance took place, which was a group of 24 oil-producing countries. Russia is a part of OPEC Plus. OPEC agreed to extend its current 1.2 million barrel per day output cuts for another 9 months to the end of March. The cartel will meet with Russia, who has already given its approval, and other top non-member producers to agree on the final details, which are expected by tomorrow. Now, aided by strong show by steel, the 8 core industries output grew 5.1% in the month of May. This was higher than 4.1% growth recorded in May 2018, but lower than 6.3% seen in April 2019. For April-May 2019, the output of the 8 core industries, that is steel, coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, cement and electricity grew by 5.7%. This May, the steel and electricity sectors showed strong growth output at 19.9% and 7.2% respectively. The base effect has clearly helped in the case of steel sector. The Appointments Committee of Cabinet has approved the extension of Vishwanathan's term as RBI Deputy Governor by 1 year with effect from July 4th this year. The order issued by the Personal Ministry. His tenure was to end on Wednesday, 3rd July. Vishwanathan is in charge of regulation of banks, non-banking finance companies and cooperative banks. Vishwanathan is known to be one of the key architects behind the revised norms which encourage banks to take companies to the insolvency and bankruptcy code by freeing up locked provisions. And that's all we have in this edition of Finance World. Back to Nancy for more updates.
Thanks, Angel, for joining us and sharing with us all the news from the finance world. And let's now move on to our next segment. Take a look at what the national dailies are carrying this morning. We're beginning first with the news from Hindustan Times. The cost of rising heat, it says, growing heat stress on workers will cause a massive loss in productivity over the next decade. And that's according to United Nations. And this is also talking about in detail how India is among the countries that stand to lose the most in terms of productivity from the heat stress arising from climate change. That's according to a new study by the International Labour Organization. Now, heat stress that refers to an increase in the body heat from working and environmental conditions will lead to a productivity loss of 2.2% of the total working hours around the world, equivalent to 80 million full-time jobs by 2030. That's according to report. And this is also talking about the worst hit sectors. And it says that agriculture and construction sectors will be the worst affected owing to physical nature of work, accounting for 60% and 19% of working hours lost. And this loss in productivity is equal to globally 80 million full-time jobs lost. And in India, it is 34 million jobs, full-time jobs lost, and around 5.8% of the total working hours to be lost. All right, let's move on now to some important report. They're coming from climate change and heat stress. Let's move on now to Indian Express, and this is talking about the monsoon, which is late monsoon. The Met Department saying that 33% deficit in June, highest in 5 years, but July and August are going to be better due to the late onset and the adverse impact of Cyclone Vayu. The first month of the monsoon season ended with a 32.8% deficiency in rainfall for the country as a whole, the worst in the last 5 years. But the months of July and August promise to be better. That's according to IMD, and this is something we're also witnessing across Maharashtra. And staying with the same newspaper, but moving on to some other news, and this is an image that we're bringing you. This is the start of the Amarnath Yatra that began yesterday, and this talks about how under technology and security cover the Amarnath Yatra has begun, and this is an image of the first batch of pilgrims on the Baltal route. Security measures, including the unmanned aerial vehicles and satellite trackers, are a first this year. And towards the end, sports news, and yes, this is talking about the cover page of the Times of India, talking about that match between India and Bangladesh today in the World Cup, and India will look to seal the spot in the semis. Well, this is also talking about how with an all-rounder Vijay Shankar to ruled out of the World Cup, injury hit India take on a feisty Bangladesh today. It's a head-to-head all the matches, and India have played 35, 129. So stats also that this newspaper has researched. India world number 1, 11 points from 7 games. And what are the strengths, the weaknesses, the injury issues, and also selection dilemma? It's also talking about Bangladesh, whereas world number 7, 7 points from 7 games. So that is the match that we will watch out for today in the World Cup. And with that, it's a wrap on the morning print for now. Let's now move on to history of the day. Check the significance of this day in the past.
British-Italian engineer Guglielmo Marconi obtained a patent for radio in London on this day in the year 1897. On this day in 1940, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was arrested and detained at Presidency Jail in Kolkata. On this day in 1964, American President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Bill into a law. The law banned segregation on the grounds of race, religion, or national origin. On this very day in 1972, the Shimla Agreement was signed by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Pakistan President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. In 2002, on this day, Steve Fossett became the first person to fly solo around the world non-stop in a balloon.
And a look now at the important events for today.
Union Agriculture and Farmer Welfare Minister Narendra Singh Tomar and Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal to hold a press conference in New Delhi on the first ever India International Cooperative Trade Fair. The fair is scheduled to be held from 11th till the 13th of October. BJP Parliamentary Party scheduled to meet in New Delhi. The meeting, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is expected to discuss the Triple Talaq Bill and party strategy in Rajya Sabha. National Commission for Scheduled Tribes scheduled to hold a meeting with the Union Home and Tribal Affairs Ministries on the issue of alleged displacement of tribals from Chhattisgarh due to Naxal violence. UK High Court scheduled to resume hearing on a plea filed by Vijay Mallya against his extradition order to India.
And let's now move on to our health story of the day, and today we are focusing on stomach disorders and gastro problems and how diet and lifestyle changes can make a big difference in preventing the stomach disorders.
Stomach infections and many other gastro problems are quite common during summers. What precautions should be taken? Let's understand from Dr. Pramod Garg. Dr. Garg, how common are gastro problems in the summer season?
In summers and also in rainy season, the major problem that we see is of infections. Infection could either be because of bacteria or viruses, and these cause what we call as acute gastroenteritis or acute infection in your intestine. The common manifestations of these infections include pain in the abdomen, vomitings, and loose motions or diarrhea. Sometimes there may be blood in these stools, which may be more serious.
In case of diarrhea, what should be a proper management?
Most patients do not require antibiotics. The most important treatment of acute infection is water intake should be adequate. And for this, we have oral rehydration solution available, which can be taken from the primary health centers over-the-counter shops, and you can make it at home by mixing some salt and sugar and maybe some lemon in the water. Take adequate amount of this so that you are well hydrated. The urine output should be adequate. If someone has low urine output, fever is very high, there is blood in the stools, or if the diarrhea continues beyond 1 or 2 days, I think it is best to consult your doctor and go to a hospital.
How can all these problems during summers be prevented?
Make sure that your water which you take is from a safe source. We can chlorinate the water to make it disinfected, and otherwise the best solution for every household is to boil the water if you are not sure of the quality of the water that you receive. With regard to your food intake, it's always good to have home cooked meal. Whenever you have cooked food, wherever it is at home or outside, it is usually safe because heat kills the germs, the bacteria and the viruses, the germs that cause infection. So I think the best precaution is to take safe drinking water, adequate water during summers, and also making sure that you eat healthy cooked food.
Thank you, Dr. Pramod Garg, for talking to us. Take good care of hygiene while cooking. Be cautious about what you eat and what you drink to keep away gastro problems in the summer months. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
And moving on now to our good news India story. While there's no denying that the blistering heat is too much for humans, spare a thought for the mute birds who have no one to speak for them. While there's a person in Ernakulam in Kerala who does more than that. Shriman Narayan, who serves them some respite in the earthen bowls and encourages others to do the same. Take a look.
Meet Ernakulam's own birdman, Narayan, 70 years old and dedicated to the service of nature. In the blistering heat, Narayan cares for the birds that suffer without water, buying and distributing earthen bowls that he encourages people to fill with water so that the birds can find some relief. The sight of these creatures of nature frolicking in the water thrill him no end.
मैंने इस जिले में अब तक करीब 50,000 पौधे बांटे हैं और करीब 10,000 पौधे अपने गांव में खुद ही रोपे हैं। अब जब गर्मी इतनी ज्यादा है तो इन बेजुबान जानवरों और पक्षियों का ध्यान रखना हमारा फर्ज है। मैंने करीब 10,000 पानी के सकोरे खरीदे हैं और पूरे एर्नाकुलम में बांटे, जिनमें कई संस्थान क्लब्स शामिल हैं। इसके नतीजे काफी अच्छे आ रहे हैं और लोग पक्षियों के लिए पानी रखने में काफी दिलचस्पी ले रहे हैं। अगले साल मैं इस मुहिम को पूरे केरल में फैलाने की सोच रहा हूं। अगर एक बर्तन से करीब 100 चिड़िया पानी पी सकती हैं, तो हम अंदाजा लगा सकते हैं कि 10,000 सकोरों से 10 लाख चिड़िया पानी पी रही होंगी। जान बचाने के लिए एक कटोरा पानी भी काफी सहायता कर सकता है।
Narayan's work for the environment is not confined to just laying out water for the birds to drink and bathe in. He also runs a massive campaign for planting trees. Narayan says that saving the planet is more important than saving money for the future. Change in the world is sometimes brought about by the actions of one single person. Narayan has assumed that role with ease and to great success. For Good News India from Ernakulam, Kerala, DD News.
Now, water conservation is the need of the hour and it needs collective efforts. The story of Eklavya from Dhanbad in Jharkhand is one of the finest examples of an individual's efforts that encourages us to save rainwater. Here's how.
This is Eklavya. The name tells it all. For the last 25 years, Eklavya has been running a campaign for water harvesting and conservation. The message is quite clear. Save every drop of rainwater today for a safer tomorrow.
हम 2005 से उत्तर बिहार के उन इलाकों में काम करना शुरू किए जहां बाढ़ आती है और बाढ़ के समय लोगों को साफ पानी मिलना मुश्किल हो जाता है। तो उस समय हम लोगों ने टेम्पररी वर्षा जल संग्रहण का एक सिस्टम बैठाया था, तो जो 2007 और 2008 में लोगों ने उसे अपनाया।
With the help of school children, Eklavya formed gangs of water leaders. These water leaders have been spreading awareness towards water conservation after a proper survey. The students know that rainwater harvesting is the need of the hour.
जो प्रयास पूरे राष्ट्र में पहले पॉकेट्स में हो रहे थे, बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो जल से जुड़कर ये काम करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे और कर भी रहे हैं। और आज के तारीख में अगर देखें तो वो प्रयासों को मद्देनजर रखते हुए एक राष्ट्रीय स्तर का एक अभियान के बारे में सरकार ने सोचा है, जिसको लीड कर रहे हैं हमारे प्रधानमंत्री। तो ये एक बहुत ही सकारात्मक सोच है। मुझे लगता है कि अगर सही तरीके से अगर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे तो ऐसे बहुत सारे समस्याएं हैं जिसका हम समाधान ढूंढ सकेंगे।
Water table continues to recede all over the world, including India, and with natural sources of water drying up, water conservation and harvesting is the only solution. With Ajay Sinha from Dhanbad, Divakar Kumar, DD News.
And a look now at the weather conditions across the country today. And with that, it's a wrap on the breakfast news this morning. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you then. But before we go today, we are leaving you with the glimpses of 44-kilometer-long ultra marathon organized at Mount Olympus in Greece. Take a look at those visuals and we wish you a great day ahead. Thanks for being with us.